And we always talked about it in the sense that you have to be intense. And in fact, if you ever had to give up friendly in order to have intense, we would do that. So if we needed to be intense and combative, we'd do that before we'd be not intense. But
I don't really talk about my personal life on here, but if you followed the channel, you know that I was unemployed. Then I made this YouTube channel. Then I got into Google and now I quit. But I never really talked about why I was unemployed in the first place. Well, the short answer is that after I graduated, I actually accepted an offer from Amazon and I worked there for 2 months and then I quit. I'll give a bit of backstory. I grew up with my mom and 2 brothers. My dad had drug problems and pretty much abandoned us, and I mainly just wanted to help my family. We were poor and we definitely knew it. I remember as a kid, I was playing outside and then I fell. I looked down at my knee and it was bleeding, and the first thought I had was, damn, my mom just bought me these pair of jeans and I already ripped them. And I would get a knot in my stomach, which is the worst feeling. Now, this isn't a sob story. I think some people spend their whole lives looking for a purpose, but I already had mine. So when I was lucky enough to be the first in my family to go to college, my goal was simple: get a degree as quickly as possible so I can get a high-paying job and then help my family. And I actually did that. I got my CS degree, I failed some interviews, but I managed to get an offer from Amazon where I was supposed to make $140K a year. And let me actually prove it to you. This is actually the backpack they gave me. Anybody who works at Amazon can probably confirm. I think everybody gets this. I put a sticker on it, but other than that, it's the same Amazon backpack. When I got the offer, I felt like a huge weight lifted from my shoulders. This is what I worked my whole life for, and it's finally gonna pay off. Going into it, I was definitely intimidated because it's wow, this is Amazon. It's gonna be a well-oiled engineering machine. I joined the Alexa org. There were 4 experienced engineers on the team, and 5 or 6 new grads had just joined, including me. And one of the first things my manager said to me was, the team is a little burnt out, so try not to ask questions. Now, usually I don't mind a challenge, but for some reason this was different. I had so much anxiety just trying to read my screen. I could not concentrate. I felt like something in my brain broke. The glue that was holding everything together was just coming apart. Even tasks that were trivial for me in the past just felt impossible. My entire life, I never had an experience like this one, I swear. I felt like I was on fire and I would do anything to make it stop. And so I quit. My thought process was, I'm sure they're gonna fire me anyway, but I'm reasonably smart and reasonably hardworking. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get another high-paying job one day. And even if it pays half as much as Amazon did, for me, that's still a lot of money. But honestly, maybe I was just trying to convince myself. And the funny thing is, when I actually first sent my resignation email, my manager called me and basically said, come on, you don't have to quit. But I was like, no, I'm serious. This sucks ass. And then the next day, my senior manager called me and basically said the same thing. Somehow they actually convinced me, and I was like, okay, maybe I can make things work here. And a couple days went by, and for the 3rd and final time, I sent my resignation email. After quitting, I thought things would get better. They did not. Whenever I sat at my computer and opened VS Code, I would just get this intense feeling in my stomach, and after a while, I just gave up. I think I recorded a few LeetCode videos, but I even stopped that because I was just so depressed. I was turning to drugs and alcohol. I hit the bong so much that I literally didn't even feel it anymore. I was just in shock. How did this happen to me? This was not supposed to happen. It was supposed to be different. If I was stronger, this would have never happened to me. If I could just have one more chance, I know I could make things right. Maybe in another life, I'll make them proud. I literally thought that to myself. It sounds cringy to say it out loud, but that's literally how I felt. I was at rock bottom, and this lasted for weeks, and it was not getting better until one day I made a huge mistake. I went to my fridge, I opened the freezer, I grabbed a piece of tinfoil, I opened it and ate everything inside. It was like 5 or 6 tabs of LSD. Now, it was a horrible decision, but I just wanted to feel like I was flying. Now, I did not fly. I spent that day laying down and watching the ceiling just spinning. All of the negative feelings I had were like 10 times more intense, and the thoughts just kept replaying in my mind. But that wasn't even the worst part of it. After it was over, the world around me had very noticeably changed. A school construction project next to where I lived was not really about the school. It was actually meant to spy on me. Why? That's the question I kept asking myself. Why is it that every time I go for a walk, there are people following me? Why is it that every time I drive, police are following me? I know that sounds crazy, but here's one that's like a tiny bit believable, at least for like a paranoid person. In college, I had my only internship at Capital One. During that time, there was a data breach on their services that were hosted on AWS. And it was actually intentionally caused by like a former Amazon engineer. And while I was at Amazon, I would sometimes take like handwritten notes, like about my tasks. So then I started thinking, oh shit, there's going to be another breach and Amazon is going to try to blame it on me. Why? I don't know, but I took those notes and I burned the shit out of them. Now, I'm not a big crier. I'm honestly not. But in this situation, it was so hard to get better because I just could not stop crying. Even worse, I couldn't remember anything. I would get up and walk to the kitchen and be like, wait, what am I doing again? Wait, how old am I again? What's my name again? Wait, didn't I have a doctor's appointment today? I was so scared that I was just completely losing my mind, but I did not stay down. Almost every day, I would drive to an empty parking lot, and after I was done crying, I would read to myself, and I'll actually show you. Maybe working this particular job caused a little too much anxiety right now, but as I continue, I know pretty soon it will be easier and more manageable. You can even see the date, last edited August 20, 2020. I would read these words every single day until one day I could believe them. Even then, months went by of me doing nothing. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, or even remember things. I didn't really know what else to do anymore, so I think on December 1st, 2020, I decided, okay, I'm just gonna solve a LeetCode problem every single day, regardless of what else happens around me. And the consistency and predictability of this actually helped me calm down a lot. And literally a week after that, I started feeling like a tiny bit normal again. So then I started making LeetCode videos again, literally like a week after that. It was such a strange feeling, like as quickly as my brain had like come apart was as quickly as it just came together. And I kept at it for a year until I got my first job interview and then job offer since quitting. And it happened to be at Google. And maybe this is the drugs talking, but ever since then, life just feels like a dream. Like it doesn't feel real to me anymore. I feel like every time I have to do something hard or something I couldn't do in the past, I literally feel like somebody else is doing it for me. Now, I'm not saying that LeetCode will cure your mental illness, and I'm not a doctor, but if I had to guess, this whole experience of going crazy was probably like drug-induced psychosis, at least from what I know. Now, I can't tell you exactly how to get into Google. I can't tell you exactly how to make a lot of money or whatever it is that you want to do. I wish I could, but I can tell you this. When you're consistent, never stay down, enjoy what you do, maybe even obsess over it, and lastly, are honest with yourself and a little self-critical, you tell me, Would you want to bet against someone like that? I wouldn't. And for that reason, I'm never going to bet against myself. I'm Navi, and that's my story in my own words.